you work in research and development or innovation, you're probably very familiar with the world of trend spotting and trend hunting. A quick Google search will reveal hundreds of companies that promise to help you find the next big thing. Here's the problem though. You will struggle to find a company that helps you figure out what happens to that trend after it's born. Does it survive the jungle that is consumer culture? The reality is that trends are actually extremely volatile, and understanding this volatility can make or break the success of your product development and innovation efforts. Let's take a few examples. Superfoods. 2017 was supposed to be the year of superfoods. Then it became 2018. In fact, just yesterday, my neighbor told me, hey, there's a new trend. I hear 2019, everybody's going to be consuming superfoods. So here we go again. Personalized skincare. We were supposed to have personalized everything by now, yet we're barely scratching the surface of customized solutions, let alone true personalization. We were all supposed to be whizzing around in electric cars. We're barely driving hybrids. The truth is, if you actually pay attention, every year, especially around January, you'll see new trends crop up, but in reality, most of them are just the same old trend, just only slightly rebranded. For example, probiotics has turned into gut health, natural skincare has turned into holistic skincare, mobile banking has become anywhere banking. We need to stop paying attention to the next big thing, the next new trend, and actually start to measure the volatility of these trends. This is the only way we're going to improve our batting average as innovation professionals. So what impacts these trends? What makes them volatile? There are two types of factors that affect them. The first are economic factors. Economic factors are simple. They're nothing but the spending of money in order to advance a particular idea into the mainstream. So if you find yourself walking to the health food store and buying probiotic supplements or kimchi, you are helping advance the trend of probiotics further into the mainstream. The other type of factors are cultural factors. These are new norms, new habits, new rituals that you find yourself now doing in your day-to-day life. Classic example of that would be if you're now suddenly making sourdough bread at home or you're brewing your own kombucha. These are examples where you have changed something about your typical habits in order to show the world that you're up on the trend, you care about your health and wellness, or you want to show the world your culinary chops. Culture, though, is quite complex. There are actually thousands of cultural and economic factors impacting the volatility of trends every single day. But for argument's sake, let's simplify the model. Let's take a simple two-dimensional universe where, let's say there's just one cultural factor and one economic factor impacting the future of trends. So in this two-dimensional space, if you plot a trend like probiotics, you would denote it by a simple X and Y coordinate, of course, telling us about the pressure of the cultural and the economic factor on probiotics. Now, culture is, of course, relational, so to understand what probiotics means to consumers at any given point in time, we have to look at all the topics and related trends that surround probiotics in close proximity. So what does that mean? How do we know what is in close proximity? Enter some basic high school mathematics. So let's take another example of a trend like gut health. A related trend, also denoted by XY coordinates. Using Pythagoras' theorem, you could actually calculate the distance between probiotics and gut health in this two-dimensional space. If you can calculate this distance, you can also calculate the distance between probiotics and hundreds, if not thousands, of other related topics and trends that surround probiotics in its cultural universe. And more importantly, it allows us to hone in on those topics that sit in close proximity so that we can actually understand what this particular trend means to people, to the consumer, at any given point in time. So let's take a real example. In 2017, the universe of topics that surrounded probiotics was all about supplementation. People wanted to use probiotics in order to supplement their diet. In 2018, it changed a tad bit. It's still about supplementation, but it also became about changing your dietary habits, about introducing fermented foods into the equation. Now, this change is really, really important But finally, we have a model with which we can actually measure this change. We can measure not only the distance traveled by probiotics from 17 to 18, we can also measure the distance traveled by the topics that surround probiotics from 17 to 18. So why does this distance measurement matter? Because we're here, after all, talking about the measurement of volatility, because volatile trends are ones where the cultural universe travels in a haphazard manner. They're all over the place. So if those distances moved are all over the place, we know probiotics is more volatile. The power of what we've done here with a model like this is we've taken complex social sciences ideas and we've translated them into geometric, even mathematical ideas that are actually measurable. And this measurement is crucial because it genuinely allows us to transform research for the purpose of innovation. It genuinely allows us to measure the volatility of these trends and create a measurable system with which we can actually improve our innovation batting average. Look, I wish I could stand here in front of you and say we came up with all of this. We didn't. We learned a lot of this from important work done by academics, one of whom is Pierre Bourdieu, who over 40 years ago talks about this idea of taking social sciences and cultural data and plotting it in geometric terms. Of course, back then, Bourdieu didn't have the luxury of big data tools or natural language processing or even the internet, which we now do. And of course, now it becomes our prerogative, our job, to build the solutions that can help us measure the volatility of these trends and improve the effectiveness of R&D and innovation. In fact, that's why this is our sole focus as a company at Motivebase. Look, I'll end on this note. For the longest time as innovation professionals, I think we've sort of acted like children looking up at the night sky, trying to pick a star to wish upon. We finally have the toolkit to not only identify those stars that are genuine trends, but to actually hone in on that one particular star that will shine so bright that it will be impossible to ignore. Thank you.